I saw him again, 3 days after we buried him. It was late. The village was quiet, the kind of silence that made you feel like you were the only one left in the world. I was heading home after visiting my cousin, feeling the cool air wrap around me, when I noticed something at the edge of the forest. At first, it looked like a shadow, tall, still, blending in with the trees. I squinted, trying to make it out, and my heart froze in my chest. It was Prince Mukoma. My blood turned to ice. I couldn't move. There he was, standing there like he'd never left. His skin, pale and tight, looked like it didn't belong to him anymore. His eyes, hollow and black as the night, locked onto mine. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. It felt like the world had stopped spinning for just that moment, like it was waiting for something terrible to happen. I should have run, but my legs wouldn't move. My whole body was frozen, trapped in his gaze. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. And then, slowly, he raised his hand, pointing straight at me. I don't know what snapped me out of it. Maybe it was pure instinct. Maybe it was fear. But suddenly, my legs were moving. I turned and ran, faster than I've ever run in my life. My heart was slamming in my chest. My breath came in short, sharp gasps. But I didn't stop. I didn't dare look back. All I could hear was the pounding of my feet against the dirt and the blood rushing in my ears. When I reached my hut, I slammed the door shut, bolting it with shaky hands. I pressed my back against the door, trying to catch my breath. My mind was racing, trying to make sense of what I'd seen. But there was no sense, no explanation. Prince Mukoma was dead. We buried him with our own hands. There had been a funeral. The whole village had come to watch as they lowered his body into the ground. He couldn't be back. But I'd seen him. I'd felt his eyes on me. I couldn't shake the feeling that even now, behind my door, he was still out there, watching, waiting. Prince Mukoma had been a cruel man in life. Everyone knew it. He took whatever he wanted, land, food, people, and if anyone stood in his way, they suffered. There were whispers, dark whispers, about what he did in the forest at night. The elders said he made deals with spirits, things that weren't meant to be bargained with. But no one dared speak of it openly, not when he was alive. His father, the king, turned a blind eye to his son's cruelty. Head was the only son, after all, and no one was brave enough to challenge him. We all hated him, but no one could stop him until he died. It happened so suddenly. One day, he was storming through the village, demanding more tribute, and the next, his servants found him cold in his bed. His eyes were wide open, his mouth twisted in terror, as if he'd seen something far worse than anything he'd done to us. The elder said it was the spirits claiming what he owed, and for the first time in years, the village felt a small sense of relief. We thought we were finally free of his shadow. But that night, I knew something was wrong. I wasn't the only one. The village was restless. No one slept. I heard it first, this slow scraping sound, like nails being dragged across wood. It was faint at first, coming from somewhere far off, but it got louder, creeping closer. Then, I heard it right outside my door, the scratching, the whispering, like something was trying to get in. I pressed myself harder against the door, holding my breath. My heart was pounding so loud. I thought whoever, or whatever, was out there could hear it. I waited, praying for the sounds to stop, for it to pass by. But it didn't. And then, just as suddenly as it started, the noises stopped. The night fell quiet again. But it wasn't a peaceful silence. It was the kind of silence that crawled under your skin, that made your hair stand on end. The next morning, I found out Chuma was gone. His hut was empty, the door left wide open. His bed was cold, like he hadn't slept in it at all. No one had seen him leave. There were no signs of a struggle. His footprints led to the edge of the village, and then they just stopped, like he'd been swallowed by the earth or something worse. That's when we realized Prince Mukoma hadn't left. Not really. His body was dead, but whatever spirit he'd made his deal with wasn't done with us. We were still his. The elders told us there was a curse. They said Mukoma's greed was so deep, his hunger so endless, that death couldn't hold him. He had made a pact with dark spirits in the forest, and now, even in death, he was bound to them. He walked among us, searching for more souls to feed to whatever monster he'd promised himself to. No one knew who would be next, but we all felt it, that creeping dread, that cold feeling that we were being watched, even in the daylight. We stopped going out at night, stopped speaking his name. But I know he hasn't forgotten about me. I saw him. He pointed at me. And I can feel him, even now, somewhere out there, waiting for the right moment. The prince is coming for me. It's only a matter of time.